This is Black History Month, and each week we've had a member of our community share something that they would like to answer. Why does Black History Month matter? And I'll invite Michael Andrew to come forward to share some words. I think. Sorry.
Good morning, everyone. Just got to open up my Word app here. This is 2020. Okay. I was born into this world, into this city, into this body, the son of a German-Canadian mother named Deborah, sitting over there in the rose top, and a Jamaican-born father named Hector. I'm also a son of the Creator, as Huck is helping me to understand. Now, because Jamaica is a multi-ethnic society, I should specify that my father, on this earth, was Jamaican of African descent, the descendant of slaves, and from where my blackness derives. My mother raised me entirely on her own as a result of what wasn't meant to be celebrated. This meant that the easy and sun-drenched way he coded his vowels, or so I would imagine, the perfect recipe for porridge or rice and peas, or so I would imagine, seeing other people who looked like me, who dealt with what I had to deal with, who grew up in a stratified society with little representation and rampant exoticization, was only a myth. Maybe a creation myth, competing with the book of Genesis, with Zeus on Olympus, with the old man sending otter down from the sky in Blackfoot creation, all swirling in my head as I would fall asleep at night and pray to know what blackness is. But all I wanted was a creation myth of me, where I knew my father, where I knew myself in the context of what the color of my skin meant, what my history, my ancestors, my culture, my language, my food, my desires, what my love meant. So it came as no surprise to me then that I grew into a coconut, or what's known as a coconut. Brown on the outside, white on the inside, but a unique coconut, a very unique coconut. Brown and beautiful and impenetrable on the outside, white and fleshy and angry sweet on the inside. And like a coconut's tree, I thirsted for black soil, Jamaican soil, with an intuition, and through intuition, more than by coming to know other Jamaican-descended people later in life, I knew that I wasn't the only coconut that found itself in a shipping crate in a winter country for white people to enjoy for the first time like they tasted mango or banana for the first time. But in a twist like for those of us who are mixed with European blood, white people, to make things more confusing for me, were and are also my people, and people with whom I also identify with. I was also made to understand that from the few Jamaicans that I did meet growing up, meeting more when I somehow made it into McGill to study German literature, not Jamaican, there was no program, that these islanders, these fellow Maroons, these Jamaicans who never seemed to know my father like I figured they would, that they too believed the absenteeism of a father, or even a male figure, was unfortunately a common thing to Jamaican and Caribbean culture. I was also made to understand that I wasn't alone in the cycle of self-hatred that would turn into obesity, and then into anorexia and bulimia nervosa, but I was always nervous. That years of wandering through travel, but never thinking to visit Jamaica, is too dangerous there and I wouldn't have known anyone, least myself there. That coming to accept myself as a gay man, and like many gay men, black gay men, also wondering if what I was really looking for in a man was a father. That the cycle of selling myself, my body, for money to feel valuable. That the cycle of drug abuse and mental illness and failed relationships and years of howling like a storm at my mother until she too became an island, not so far from Jamaica. That the legacy of slavery and inferiority to the European, that these realities, these modes, all derived from a legacy of brokenness, not of sadness, of incompleteness rather than wanting, derived from a legacy in which family structures were broken through Atlantic slave trade to the extent that fathers no longer felt capable of defending and therefore being present for their families. That mothers had to accept this and even defended it, and that my father, my blackness, the black hole that never sucked me in like I prayed and prayed for, was also a product of these legacies, and how could I hate him? So in moments of reflection, often draped over another toilet, over another man, over another therapist's couch, over and over again, over another pipe, another joint, another week without a job, over a century ago it all seems, but always yesterday and maybe tomorrow, if not for me, for another black person. Over and over I came to fear that maybe this was the only blackness that I would know. And most poignant of all was the realization that even 4 centuries after my ancestors washed a sore and were ebony, smoothed and washed white by salt, and eaten that like a strange New World fish, strange fruit eaten into driftwood and sea foam that never seems to survive in or out of the ocean, most poignant was the realization that I too was born with shackles on my feet. It's all been pretty negative so far, but I'm going to go a bit positive. But it is through love and community. It is through Jesus, black Jesus, white Jesus, brown Jesus. My mother always reminded me that Jesus was brown and also called everyone brother and sister. That I realized that as much as what I've described as blackness was and is my blackness, and the experience of so many other black Canadians, that blackness too was and is surviving. Was and is feeling the pain of what is wrong with the world at closer proximity than many. And that pain is sweet, and it defines and hardens not exclusively into whip scars or hate, but into the kind of African diamond you feel comfortable buying. And that I am here, that I am still here, is a blessing that I receive like a coconut on the head, hitting as hard and as soberly as the knowledge that we are all still here, brown and tough and hardened like a coconut, sweet and full of water that turned out to sustain us, and that this is our century. And that today exists in a century as a blessing, as I can speak to you all during a month specifically designed to draw attention to my experiences and those like me, and elevate them to the consciousness of not only European, Asian, South Asian, First Nations, Latino, Middle Eastern, and all combinations thereof and therein, but also give context to their life in this land, in this community, in this life, and help them heal their pain as much as they help heal ours. And today exists as my father, even as he rests in his eternal paradise. Farther than a few kilometers from me now, but somehow closer, and that he is the sweetest blessing, and that so is being black, and that I love you all as a father. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael, for your words, your story, and an invitation to see wider who each one of us are. This is an affirming community of faith which values the sacred worth of all, each person's sexuality, gender identity or expression, race, nationality, age, ability, or health status. We welcome the wisdom of each one of us. We also recognize and name that we are on Treaty 7 land as treaty people. And we acknowledge the gathering of our traditional territories, Blackfoot Confederacy, Stoney Nakoda, and Tsuut'ina First Nations. We also recognize this is home of Métis Region 3, and we honor the traditions and spirituality of all who gather on these lands. May we continue to live with respect with all our relations.